Good morning, and thanks so much for tuning to the Trade Setup. It's Friday yet again. Lots to talk about. Let's try and get the global news flow going first. Well, the Nvidia-led rally fizzled away in the US. Dow dropped more than 300 points, in fact, 373 points. Oil is set for the second weekly drop on improving supply as well as China votes. Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping have asked officials on both sides to resolve the border dispute quickly. India and the Gulf nations are in talks for a potential trade deal, as per Minister Goel, and Asian markets have fallen ahead of Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole speech. Now, this is the overall news, so let's look at the numbers. So, like I said, Dow fell more than 300 points, 373 points, if I'm not wrong, or thereabouts, 1%. S&P 500, 1.35%, NASDAQ, 1.87%. And it's not that this happened on the back of yields rising materially, if you will, from the levels yesterday. Remember, 4.21 was the number at this time around yesterday. We are around 4.24, not gone back to 4.35 odd, but there has been an uptick in volatility. The dollar index certainly higher, 104.08. So there has been of an uptick there as well. And the Asian markets are lower. The GIFT Nifty will also come up on your screen. I mean, the levels thereof. But remember, the Asian screen is looking red. The GIFT Nifty for now is flattish, down 0.05%. But let's wait and watch what happens during the course of the day. Now, what's the trade setup therefore in such a scenario, right? The Nifty, if you saw yesterday too, the Nifty faced some very stiff resistance around that high level of 19,600 and ended therefore after moving up at the day's low. So we're finding some key resistance. The good part is that the last couple of days, the Bank Nifty is showing some resilience. Even in yesterday's session, the Bank Nifty showed some resilience and held on to Wednesday's gains. 2 days on a trot now. We've had some decent performance from the banking block, which was missing for all this while and has done well, for starting to do well. Let's see if it lasts. But frankly, I see I find it very difficult to, think of any material pullback or a loss ahead of Jackson Hole address today. So, I mean, while the markets may do what they do intraday, I really doubt that we could have a 2% loss or a 2% gain in a session like this, because it's just ahead of what Jerome Powell will speak about. So, therefore, to my mind, that is to be kept in mind. Small cap pockets, textiles, paper, etc., finding takers at the retail HNI level. Yesterday, for example, despite the run-up that we've seen already, the massive upticks in the railway companies, right? Titagarh, Texmaco, even Jupiter Wagons, all of these were trading at life highs yesterday. So these smaller pockets are getting some meaningful traction, which is very interesting to see. Now, in light of all of this, what are the stocks that one should keep an eye out for today? Well, it's a long list today. Some brokerage calls as well, some of which I've brought out, some of which are not even brought out. But here's the list. First up is Paytm. Antfin will offer about 2.3 crore shares via block deal at 880 rupees per share. The 3.6% stake is valued at roughly for $243 million, depending on where they close the deal. Now at 904 versus 880, it's not a material discount, but even if it was, we've seen what's happened, right? Off late to deals in which large blocks are happening at a discount. If they get bought into, there's a material upside. We saw this yesterday happening in Coforge. We saw 26% stake sold off the stock, ended up 8% higher or 7% higher or whatever it was. SJS Enterprises some 3 days back, right? Again, 29% block got absorbed and stock ends some 4% higher. In fact, in Paytm's case, if anything, I would be most constructive about the possibility of the stock recouping losses if it does start off lower. But funny things happen in the market, so let's wait and watch. Then EIH Hotels could be interesting. Reliance Group and Oberoi have made a press release that they will manage 3 hospitality projects. Pretty interesting, the whole piece. It's not material for Reliance at all, frankly. It's a bevy of announcements happening ahead of post JFS and ahead of the AGM as well. So we anyways expected activity in Reliance all through these last 8 days and the run up to the AGM, which is happening on the 28th, which is Monday. So interesting thing, but from a EIH Hotels perspective, it's material simply because I mean, relatively 3 hotel projects for EIH mean a lot more than what it means for Reliance, to be honest. Let's wait and watch if EIH has some activity. HAL, I mean, now they've not mentioned HAL, but obviously when an announcement like this comes, one of the key beneficiaries or potential beneficiaries could be HAL. So Indian Air Force is going to order 100 more Tejas Mk1A fighter aircrafts for $8 billion as per media reports. So watch out for HAL today. Watch out for BEL. MOD has granted acceptance of necessity for procurement and installation of electronic warfare suite on Mi-17 V5 helicopters. The EV suite will be procured from BEL. Now, unfortunately, we don't have an idea about the size of the order, but it seems to be an interesting one, and it seems to be something that could benefit BEL. So do watch out for this one. For the longest time, BEL was held at 105 to 110. Then it's broken out. Now it's for the longest time kind of trading at around these levels. Can it materially move up? Let's wait and watch. Brokerages believe it could, by the way. I've seen a Morgan Stanley note. I've seen one more brokerage note believing that there is some more upside for BEL. Let's wait and watch. KPIT Technologies spoke to us a few days back, gave some fairly strong commentary about outlook ahead. The stock has had a rally since then. Now they've gone with a very interesting announcement, or two announcements actually. One, the company's entered into an MOU with Government of Karnataka for 750 crore rupees to set up a semiconductor assembly and testing facility and printed circuit board manufacturing plant through its step-down subsidiaries. Semiconductor assembly seems very, very interesting. Additionally, the company is also going to meet FIs like Schroeder, GIC, and Capital in August 28. And the point being, this happens when, for whichever the brokerage is, an MNC broker presumably has managed to evoke interest for the EMS sector and Keynes in particular with some marquee FIs. Those are big names. Those are amongst the largest globally and certainly one of the largest in India. And therefore, I reckon that all of this could augur well for the sentiment of Keynes. Now, remember, all of these EWS stocks, right, which is the electronic device companies, the Dixon, Amber, Keynes, Sirma, whatever you call it, right? All of these are expensive stocks. They're not cheap at all. But yesterday, Nirav Sheth of MK, and I urge you to watch that conversation, by the way, very interesting one. He made an interesting point that, some of these companies are looking very promising, but you can't argue against the fact that the valuations are expensive. So how do you combat that? Maybe, just maybe, you don't take a very large position in it, and take a small position in any of these stocks that you may like. If you do, because they are expensive and they may correct, but because they look very promising as a pocket, you don't want to miss out on the move as well. So because you are undecided on both of these counts, what you do is effectively go out and take a small position. It's an interesting thought. It's contrary to what people usually do, which is take large positions in companies that they have conviction in. But here's a pocket which is very expensive, and you're not doubting the value, you're not doubting the earnings upsides, but you may doubt the valuations that they are trading at. And therefore, I mean, it could be for any stock. These electronic stocks are one example. It could mean for almost any other stock which has run up quite a bit, but order books are looking very strong, and execution is looking strong, but the valuations are expensive. So just a thought worth listening into that conversation. But yes, coming back to KPIT Technologies, it's an interesting couple of announcements, and the stock, who knows, maybe active today. Astra Microwave, small order but reasonable for Astra, has gotten 158 crores worth of orders from DRDO, ISRO, DPSU, marquee names, marquee companies, let's see, or marquee institutions, if you will, and therefore could be interesting. Prakash Industries, it seems interesting. I can't quite get my head around how big or how not big is this, but they received the Environment Ministry approval for Bhaskarpara coal mine in Chhattisgarh, which will reduce cost and boost revenue through open market sale of coal. When commercial coal mining is now active and real, this could be meaningful for Prakash. Let's wait and watch. Shopper Stop, MD and CEO Venu Nair resigns effective August 31st due to personal reasons. They have a replacement in Home Stop Chief Kavindra Mishra, promoted as ED and CEO and not MD and CEO. Maybe Shopper Stop has a bit of a negative reaction. Maybe Glaxo could have a negative reaction because they reported contingent liabilities of 350 crores on account of ongoing litigation. So watch out for those. And then there are a lot of concerns around JFS impact on Bajaj Finance or some of the others, right? Now, Nomura comes and says, hey, we are not bothered. They say initiate buy, target price 8,700. saying your fears concerning Geo Financial Services are overdone. The strong business momentum for Bajaj Finance could continue. It's a well-diversified liabilities franchise. Exit of HDFC, in fact, according to them, is positive for BAF. They expect BAF to deliver AUM CAGR of 27% over FY23 to 26, average NIMs of 10%, and average credit cost of 1.6%. Conversion into bank and inability to scale up new businesses remain the key risks. You know what, viewers? The point is, for the last 7 years, maybe, these remain the concerns for BAF, and BAF continues to surmount them. Um, COVID closures, demon, what have you. Bajaj Finance has always faced these things about, oh, will it get converted into a bank and what happens? Will Rajiv Jain leave? At some point in time, that was the concern. Then it got over, will it convert into a bank and therefore what happens to its ability to do multiple things? What about the inability to scale up newer businesses? What about attacks from newer competitors into it? And it continues to thrive. The base was believed to be very large 4 years ago. The base is believed to be very large now because obviously the base has gone up as well. Now, I'm not saying this means that BAF is a buy. I'm no one to recommend a stock. All I'm trying to say is the concerns surrounding BAF have remained constant for years, and BAF has performed on all of these counts. So I somehow believe that what Nomura is saying are interesting points, that the fears concerning Geo or whatever else, I don't know if they're, they could be overdone. And that is the point I'm saying is interesting when it comes to Nomura's note on BAF. Now, the other one is Morgan Stanley and Power Grid, which was interesting. Overweight and a target price raise from Morgan Stanley. They say the transmission sector ordering is expected to pick up pace and add to growth momentum. Power Grid is diversifying into smart metering, which should add to its bottom line. They nudged their earnings forecast up 2% for FY24 and 5% for FY25. Let's see if it's material. What I have not spoken about, viewers, very quickly, I'll just wrap that up, and that's telecom, right? So yesterday the TRI data came out. So specific company-wise, Bharti Airtel added about 1.4 million wireless subscribers in June. The VLR base grew by only 0.1 million. VLR proportion at 99.7% in percent versus 100% in May. Karnataka and Mumbai were the main contributors to the VLR increase, while Uttar Pradesh was the major laggard. Now, Bharti has discontinued its 99 plan as well in Feb in the 19 remaining circles that may have impacted this subscriber addition when compared with Jio. Now, what did Jio do? It added about 2.3 million subscribers in June. Of course, it was a moderation from the 3 million added in May, but it's a 16 straight month of subscriber addition for Jio. VLR base growing, VLR proportion was flattish though, and specific states did what it did. And Vodafone actually subscriber losses persisted. But the point is, today's newspapers are carrying announcements around Vodafone Idea, talking about some fund infusion and some accelerated growth prospects as well. So let's see if telecom has a slightly different outing to what the June data is suggesting in terms of subscriber additions. The day will tell. Interesting conversations. You'll of course hear a bevy of corporate experts on BQ Prime today as they speak around G20. So that is to be anticipated, and that can be watched out for. Rajesh Bhatia of IT Asset Management joins in at 10 a.m. today. But keep in mind, viewers, if any of the corporate speakers, the head honchos of India, are talking material things around G20, then we'll obviously broadcast that, and talking point will get beamed a bit later. But it's an interesting conversation with Rajesh Bhatia, I presume. And they were on the button in March when they said that the fears are overdone. They've proven to be right. What is their view now? That's the call I want to make with Rajesh. So do try and tune into that conversation. A few corporate conversations and the trade talk conversations that actually happen. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup. If you don't join me in any of the shows, have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday morning.